Hi, and welcome to the NLP UK Training podcast. I'm Fraser.
And I'm Steve Kay.
And today we're going to be talking about how to really build the foundations of a solid coaching business that kind of starts from the inside out.
Tell me more.
So, when I started my coaching business, I was kind of working the wrong way around. I was kind of working from the outside in.
I don't understand what you mean.
So I was all about, okay, so how can I get this outcome for the client?
Right.
So I was really focused on things like, how can I get my first client? That was the outcome that I wanted. So it was all about the outcome.
Right.
So how can I get that first coaching client? How can I get that first training client? And it was all about getting clients.
Okay.
And then the next thing that came was, right, okay, what processes am I going to need in my business to be able to get that first client, to get that first training customer? So what was my onboarding process? What was my social media strategy? What was my networking strategy? What kind of came last was that identity as a coach.
I mean, the first things you said sound quite sensible.
They do, don't they? It
Yeah.
kind of makes common sense. Well, what do I want? How am I going to get there?
Some customers.
But what I was kind of forgetting was that identity piece. Now, we talked about identity in one of our earlier podcasts.
Yeah.
And I said then I was still identifying as a dance teacher because that was what I used to do before I started my NLP training.
Yeah.
So in the back of my mind, I was still there. I wasn't identifying as a coach. So the energy was different.
Okay.
Because of that identity. And something happened in my second year. I started to believe in myself as a coach. That old identity of being a dance teacher kind of fell away. So I was thinking differently.
Because it changed your beliefs about yourself.
Yeah. I had a real belief in who I was as a coach, as an NLP trainer, as a leadership and coaching trainer.
Yeah.
This was no longer what I was doing now.
Yeah.
It was who I was.
Right.
And everything started to come from there. Now, if I was the best coach I could be, if I was the best NLP trainer I could be,
everything flows from inside.
Everything comes from inside then.
Yeah.
So I was no longer thinking about, okay, well, I'm starting with the outcome that I want. I was actually thinking about, who do I want to be as a coach?
Right.
Who am I as a trainer? If I was that person, what would I do?
Okay.
So I started to model you when I did my NLP trainers training.
Yeah.
I started to model.
Those were the days.
Yeah. I started to model other great coaches, other great trainers. What would someone that was the absolute best at what they do in the coaching and training world do differently to me? So it wasn't really about the outcome. It was about who I wanted to be.
Right.
Now, what that meant was those outcomes almost happened organically. I didn't have to try.
Okay.
So I started to work with the clients I wanted to work with. I started attracting people that I could get great results with. I started to say no to some things. I can remember, when I sold my dance business, and that was really pivotal when I got rid of that part of who I was. The very next day, I did my first professional coaching training for coaching for quality culture.
Yeah, you did.
With a company down in Ashby.
Yeah, logistics.
Yeah, absolutely. And that meant that I wasn't just trying to be a coach anymore. I was a professional coach. So that was really key. So for those of you listening that might be thinking about it the way that I used to think, I've got some really, really simple tips for you. So the first thing is, who do you want to be as a coach, as a trainer, or whatever business that you're in? Who is it that you really want to be? What would someone that was already that be doing? How would they feel about it? How would they describe themselves? What actions might they take? And then it's about actually taking those actions yourself and really truly modeling that behavior so that you can get different outcomes that you want.
Can I just chip in with something?
Of course.
So I did this with one of the people I've been coaching, and I got them to model you because
You did.
they've been moving forward and changing quite a lot, and they've relaunched their business after, they had a really successful hypnotherapy coaching business years ago, and so they've done it once. They know what they've got to do, but they weren't moving as fast as I perhaps would have liked. So I kind of used the prod coaching technique, and I have to say I was getting a little bit like, come on. And suddenly I had this insight, and I said to her, "What would Callie do?" "Oh, well, she'd be charging X and X and X." "Well, what would happen if they say no?" "Well, they wouldn't say no, would they? They'd be, because she'd persuade them." And it was almost like she steps inside your body and became you. And kind of, so her identity became like your identity. But then as she moved around in that new suit, it became her.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're saying, isn't it?
Absolutely. Ultimately, our identity isn't fixed. We can choose how we identify ourselves. Certainly professionally. I've had multiple incarnations throughout my career over the last very, very many years. So really embodying that new identity gives you a different kind of energy. Mm-hmm. It's not about being someone that you're not. It's about still being who you are, but just trying on a different costume is a really great way to describe it, to get different results.
Yeah.
And that lady that you're talking about, we've both known for a long time.
Yeah.
And she's actually taking massive action within her business, and has really shifted since that coaching session, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she has.
So, guys, you can be anything and anyone that you want to be, but you have to decide who that is and then become that person to get the results that you want.
So how do we become that person once we've said, I am this, I am that? How do we become, what do we have to do?
I think it's just like Claire did. It's literally stepping into someone's shoes. And with Claire, when she was saying things like, well, Callie would do this, Callie would do that.
Yeah.
Now, those are things that I might have done.
Yeah.
But actually, not necessarily. That was coming from Claire's inner wisdom.
Yes, that's true.
This was what her wisdom was actually telling her to do.
Yeah.
But she maybe just wasn't listening. And that new costume gave her that opportunity to really listen to what was already within her.
Yeah.
So that she could take that action. And action is key. Nothing happens until you take action. You've kind of got to hit the golf ball. It's like being on the golf course, isn't it, for you?
Yeah.
When you're standing on that golf course, no one else is going to hit that ball for you.
No.
You got to take a swing.
Yeah.
And give it a bit of a whack.
Yeah. It's not a team sport, is it?
It's not a team sport, that's for sure. You've got to take that action yourself. So guys, if you would like some more information about how NLP has helped both myself, Steve, and our clients get to where they want to be, please take a little look at our website, NLPUKtraining.com. You'll find our contact details on there. Give us a shout, get in touch. We'd love to have a chat. We'll see you next time on the podcast.
Cheers for now.